fire is natural ecosystem. So it's a great resource now. He's certainly in the natural resource. He's heard a lot. 20,000 more fireballs, something like that. So he had some experience in that area. I can say that I burned more acres and the fireballs 4 times a day, but that's because I'm old as hell. That yeah, I suspect by the time he retired, he was out this substantial. But then there've only been a past management program at Kansas State University. There've only been A. Aldous, Cleve Anderson, and myself as members that were head of the so-called pasture management project. California said, and he came here in 1938 to take on the pasture management program at A because of the death of A. Aldous. So we have got a large number of people. We have a long history of research in the fire area that began here in around 1920. Longer time we had the longest burning research trial in the world until it became a rodeo for me and Stella. That's much to my chagrin. Claimed had a master's degree, and he decided that he needed a PhD, so he took 2 years off, went to the University of Nebraska, and got his PhD there. He basically did a lot of fire research, a lot of stocking rate research, some research work in raising systems like vertical fiction. In 1956, he and fellow with the Soil Conservation Service at the time developed green site descriptions for all of the different vegetation types within the state of Kansas. And published a seminal paper. We don't call them that anymore, but it's exactly the same thing you're called ecological site. In addition to that, claim with the grass breeders and almost all of the main varieties that are used in reseeding mixture came out of his breeding program. So he had a long history of that. Leslie, I would say he's got all kinds of awards, and he was a founding member of the Society for Range Management. But he was a gentleman's gentleman. Everyone liked Cleve Anderson, and so he had multiple sclerosis, and he had to take medical retirement. And he asked that I take over. He didn't realize what a monster he had unleashed on him. Cleve was just an absolute gentleman. Basically, he and his daughter and I founded this lectureship, and we had a tremendous amount of response early, and so we could bring in people like over here. And we still, we still take donations so that we can do more. So, claims took care of it. That works. Because he had multiple sclerosis, I had to drive him around every day to go to the research project. So I learned a tremendous amount. Most of all, I learned where all the fishing ponds were in Clinton, Virginia. Cleve was a great guy. And John Weir, I'm ready for him to give you a lecture, and we're honored to do this. The committee for this is Walt Vick, myself, and Keith Harmony. And I really appreciate the help that they did to put together. So, John, go get them.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all very much. I thank you, Clinton, and everybody for the invitation to come here. It's very much an honor. Long time, and provide live up to everything said within that. So first off, too, I would like to really appreciate all the my fellow Baptists I see in the audience. I appreciate that. When you got to the Baptists here, such up front like that. So I feel at home. So within that, so I appreciate all that, all the background Baptists that we have here. Do that well. And so again, I'm going to talk to you about burning outside the box. Thinking about fire, a lot of times fire gets put into a box, like a lot of things that we do. And a lot of times, taking that box too long, things start to happen. So let's start thinking outside of it, what we can do within that. And so, you know, if you think about different things, you know, the number one reason that non-burning people don't burn is liability. You can look at that over all the surveys that's ever been done. You know, I go to all kinds of states, travel and talk to landowners about burning and doing that. And again, the number one reason they come up to me is liability. They're all concerned about liability. Again, then once you get people burning, talk to them about, oh, did you get all your burn done this year? And the answer is always pretty much no. We didn't get everything burned we wanted to. And you ask them why? But we're running out of time. It's weather. But then that burn season that we burned, we just don't have enough time. We can't get everything done. Weather is our limiting factor, and it's not enough that. And so a lot of times you tell people if they limit themselves due to a season. Well, we only burn, you know, March and April. That's the only time we burn. That's what the box said. Good. And so that, you know, again, that gets us thinking and doing that. And so, you know, how does that impact? And so several years ago, I did a study looking at some stuff, looking at weather conditions, air, still water, and trying to determine, say, so how many burn days do we actually have? So I got, you know, we're fortunate in Oklahoma. We have an Oklahoma mesonet system. We have 118 weather stations scattered around the state. One there just out at the research station in Marina, west of Stillwater. So I gathered all this data from that. We have 14 years of hourly data. I only collected the stuff from 8 in the morning till about 6 in the evening. You know, a typical burn day when we would be out burning, you know, kind of during that time period. You know, you could do later, but that was what I want to do. That 10-hour period, and then I filtered out all the information, looked at temperatures between 35 and 110 degrees, relative humidities 20 to 80%, winds 4 to 15 miles an hour, and there couldn't be any precipitation show up during that time period. So that was my standard I set for that was maybe a good burn day. So that's what we did, looked at it. And I also narrowed it down to there had to be at least 3 consecutive hours within that 10-hour period, call it a burn day. We couldn't have 1 hour at 8 o'clock in the morning and then another hour at noon and another hour at 6. That was good. They had to be consecutive, a minimum of 3. And what we come up with is that there was 222 burn days a year, or 60% of the days were for burning. Look at it, and I will be the first to admit, I think that's an overestimation. Because again, I didn't get to filter out they were going to be wind shifts occurring that day. We just looked at those temperature factors and not if there was a big wind shift or anything like that. Just the winds fell within the right wind speed. And that also didn't take into consideration if there was snow on the ground or if it rained 4 inches at 4 o'clock that morning. long as it didn't rain during the time. So it's an overestimation, but at least it's the best information that we've got. And if you look at it, you know, it averages, if you average it by 12, that's 19 days per month. But if you look at each month individually, you can see what it comes out to. And if you look at it up there, what are the 3 worst months, or the months that have the least weather conditions? Right. Everybody March, April? What does everybody mark? Because it's the least number of days. What 3 months have the most days? August, September. A lot more days within that. They definitely stand out. And then again, if you look at the number of hours, consecutive hours that occurred, doing that again, you can look at it. What 3 months pretty much gave you the worst least amount of time to burn? February, March, right in there. Everyone burn that time frame. What 3 months had the most consecutive hours? September. For trying to get things done. And then if you started looking at wind direction, because again, a lot of times wind direction will dictate when we need to burn. Because we've got highway, we've got town, we've got summary, we've got a manager smoke, you know, or we burn to make it simpler and easier. Once you do that, then you're going to cut those number of days. You know, specific, having to have a specific wind direction. As you see, you know, this is Oklahoma, Southern Great Plains, pretty standard. Southerly winds are prevailing winds. Again, as you see well up here as well. Southerly winds, we're going to get that. But again, we can get pretty much southeast, south, southwest. That's going to be our biggest. But you know, in our area, trying to get a straight west. I think we can do that. You know, the interesting thing is again how weather conditions have changed a little bit. You know, you see northeast 23. I used to never burn with the northeast wind. I always think we associate moisture of some sort. You always have moisture with the northeast wind. I used to I've heard very rarely, but in the last 7 years, I would say that's become the predominant wind direction I burn with it. Some things kind of changed with some of the stuff that goes on. You know, this radar graph is looking at the individual month of March. How many days you have with each of the 8 cardinal wind directions just in the month of March. And you can see up there, if I needed a north wind, I got 3 days. That averaged out of the whole month of March. Northeast, got about 3. South, I got 3. Southwest, 2. So yeah, we've got maybe 16, 18 days. If we're looking for specific wind direction, we don't have it. Try to get things done. What about July? Look at July. Yeah, north winds are kind of rare in July. Sometimes we sure wish we had some more. Good at. But again, southerly winds, man, look at that. South wind, straight south, we got 12. Throw in southeast, southwest, northeast, 18 days of southerly type of winds. And then we'll talk about it in a minute. But again, you think about what's the weather patterns like? What's it like in March and April? So that's a big part of it on looking at that. And so, you know, you think about why should I burn? Well, as having my number of days limited. I need to spread that burn season out. So I can get all my burning done. That's important because, you know, a lot of times, as I said earlier, you know, a lot of times people sometimes make plans for burning in certain situations where they move cattle, they remove cattle, do things, and then they don't get it burned because then it's like, well, I'll do it next year. Really? So what am I going to do with those cattle for the whole year? already changed plans to do it again. So a lot of times what happens, you see people, they force a burn. Cut burn under conditions that could be either too extreme, too dry, and fire gets out, it's difficult to contain, it's a lot of work, very difficult. You also see people that burn to the extreme weather, lighter winds, higher humidities, just gotta get it done. Fire doesn't burn very good, and don't really get anything done at all. Not enough intensity to really control any kind of woody plants, killing and cedars and whatever else plants do. Force that fire because it has. Why don't we spread that season out and think about, I don't have to do it right now, I can do it as soon as I can. Anytime. Sometimes we've got burns that would be easier to do if I waited for the, you're waiting for something else to happen. So we can think about that. And then also, so what about differences a year impacts on the wildlife? Positive, negative? Within any fire and any wildlife species, there's always positives and negatives, right? There's always winners and there's always losers. Really, truly, a lot of burning wildlife is that scary. Depends on that. Again, there's been a lot of work, you hear a lot of stuff about, oh, we can't burn between, April 15th and July 15th, nesting birds doing that. Guess what? Those birds were around long before we were. And they survived fire long before we did. And they're still here. The only thing I've ever really noticed is that if man starts trying to manage something, it usually disappears. And let it live like it's supposed to. They're very used to fire. There's been a lot of studies done throughout the southeast and north showing that fire does not have that big impact. It's all about scale. So there's a lot of positives. There's also some negatives to talk about. We can have positive impacts on that. What about livestock? A lot of times, especially throughout the Great Plains, that's what dictates a lot of the fire use. But again, going back to the wildlife side, for stuff I've been keeping track of last several years, right now, the number one reason most people burn in the Great Plains is cedar control. That's number one. It's like 69% of all the burns with cedar control is the main reason for it. Followed that by 60% is for livestock production. 59% is for wildlife. 10 years ago, that wildlife number was down in the 40s, and now it's livestock. And so, what can we get out of it? Well, one of the things that we get, again, the main reason that we burn is for crude protein, palatability, increase that forage quality of what we can do. This is stuff, again, from there at Stillwater. Again, unburned tallgrass prairie, very low quality forage. We all know that. And so again, why do we burn? That's what happens when we spring burn. Boost that crude protein up, it stays up. As you can see, within this year, went up, then it's kind of spiked again in August, probably had some rains and stuff, and then fell back down. Probably just like unburned prairie. What if we burned that again in the what if we burned that in the summer? Fell off and burned in the summer. So again, you got it, right? Tallgrass prairie, forage quality same. We burn in July, like forage quality up just like spring. Quality of that. And if you look at it too, forage quality stays higher even longer into the year. They get that. So again, that's good. So again, thinking about a plane of nutrition, again, burning at several different, maybe a couple different times during that grazing season on different things, you can keep that plane of nutrition way high. Burning different seasons. And then the other thing is, as we all know, if we burn in the spring, we don't get no residual carrier for the next year. This is a fire that was burned the previous August. We got that spike. That August burn, not in spring. So again, there's always kind of benefits of what we can see and what we can do. Some other work that we've done there is sort of looking at nutrients that are out there, mainly minerals and stuff. These are the main minerals that I've studied the last couple of years for one of our grad students out in western Oklahoma, looking at that, and went in and we burned dormant season areas that we burned. This when those were burned, went in one burn, 1 month post burn, sample, 4 samples, and all the other EDF, all that, but also was looking at the nutrient, at the mineral content of those. Well, 1 month and then 3 months post burn. And again, 1 month post burn, growing season burn, 7 out of those 10 minerals were higher than the unburned areas. Then that 3 were the same. Again, 3 months post burn, 6 of those were still higher, 3 months post burn, and 4 of them were the same. So again, it didn't cause any kind of decline, it actually caused greater amounts of it. This is the one, looking at from phosphorus. This is the phosphorus level. This is the unburned areas. That's how much their levels were. This is coming off the spring burn, it was burned in April, March, and sampled in May and July. You see the phosphorus was high, come down. Then we hit our spring burn in June, peaked that up. Again, phosphorus. Again, 7 of the 10 minerals that we looked at were all higher than the unburned areas. Again, we're getting that benefit. Also, again, we can use fire to change cattle usage within that pasture. You've got areas that cattle aren't going to. You got areas you don't want to keep cattle from spending as much time in. Again, we can use fire. Fire is the #1 draw. It's not water, it's not mineral, it's fire. Fire is attractive, what it does. And in this study, again, part of that same study, went in a pre-burned area, and these are called cold spots and hot spots. So these cattle fitted with GPS collars, top grazing all summer in that pasture, created this map that showed these are the areas in red where the cattle stayed at constantly. That's their area, that was hot spots. The blue areas was cold spots where they avoided. We pretty much didn't have anything you want to do with it. The tan colors is the neutral area they were kind of have. So what we did was went in and figured out areas, burned about 5-acre patches. We overlaid those patches in the blue areas. This is the next year. They'll put back in there, fitted with collars, and now look at where their hot spots are grazing. Yeah, this was March burns, and then we come in and did these burns in June. What you can do is create within grass, things like that, and doing that. This is the patch avoidance and selection by those cattle. So again, fire was the March fire was here. This is weeks since fire went in, and you can see, and there that area, that's where they're selected. That's the highest selection in that. The area that's going to be burned in the summer, and they're avoiding that like the plague. Again, we burned it just a few weeks after the fire when there's adequate growth out there where they're really stamp on it. Look what they did. They totally reversed what they were doing. The small patches. Yeah. Again, other things that we've done with growing season fires, looking at the body condition score, and then mainly looking at cow count, looking at how can we avoid, feed supplemental feed costs, some of the biggest costs of cow operation. So with that, we again burning July, August time frame, spiking nutrition up. A lot of times, that, like I said, that forage is staying greener longer, even after more green in the other areas. What we were able to do, showing that, is we reduced our supplementation by about 40 days. Doing that, not changing anything with other conditions for the cow. But you see, 40 days left. We didn't start supplemental feeding. These started around November 15th. And we did on the traditional management side of it, The others where we burned in the summertime, we didn't start supplementing them until January 1. 45 days, less supplementation cost. No really change in. What about plant response? A lot of times you hear, well, we can't burn at that time of year to kill that plant. And the thing you gotta think about is our plants, our native plants and certain plants are adapted to fire. They have to be, right? Think about it historically. Native Americans burned a lot. You could ask grass man, you could fire going on certain days that would burn. I think I always think that I tell people is go out to your property, you go wherever, and stand and look down. That place where you're standing at is probably burned every day of the year. Got created this earth. Have every day. Guess what? It's still there. I died. I'm working away. At any time of year. And so trying to look at that. And you know, a lot of times too, people too will pick out plants. Little blue stems always a lot of times get picked out as a plant that doesn't handle fire because it's a bunch. This is a study one of our students did a few years back, looking at fire response to especially little blue stem seed. So again, what would be most impacted plant is a seedling and little blue stem, right? So again, these were planted in a greenhouse, germinated to 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and 18 weeks. We went out and burned those. Added fuel to simulate 4,000 pounds per acre of fuel, lit them off, burned them, took them back to the greenhouse. Also, some of them were simulated grazing, where it was grazing only and no fire, when they were simulated by getting the top slipped off of them once, twice, or 3 times. And then we also had fire, no grazing, fire, grazing, clipped once or twice. If you look by 18 weeks old, problems, even at 6 weeks, fire, 10 weeks. You know, the best thing is again, you know, seeing that they're adapted. They're adapted to grazing. What you do. But also, if you look at this is the most interesting part of it. This is total herbaceous growth of ground. Again, the biggest thing is with fire, you got greater production. You do with no fire at all. Yeah, what are we missing out when we're not production? Even greater than just grazing alone. But fire and grazing will definitely increase in production. Fire. Yeah. Then on the other end of the spectrum, what about wood? And below ground. See the same thing. Fire increases below ground, not only above ground. And again, this is growing season fire. See. Also look at season burn, very season burn, plant control. These are some plots that we have out of the research station we started back in 2004. They're set up maybe 2 applications of them, but we burn sometime in December, or January or February, in that time frame. That's one treatment. Next treatment's March, April. Got May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and there's a check for treatment. That's been going on since 2004. This information comes from the first 13 years of that we got this out. And again, what it's showing is any of the dormant season burns are going on, we're increasing our woody plants. even burning, and these are burned every 2 years. Cannot burn consistently annually some months, because again, a summer fire fires old growth from the previous year. I can carry the fire. I think you have to remember. That also means that if you did a summer burn, it's pretty much fireproof during the summer, and we can burn stuff in. Or you even did a spring burn, all the mulch and it's gone. Makes burning easier on some of that stuff. Whereas our summer burns, July, August, September, October, we're not no significant changes. And September, October was actually the only one that is pretty much zero. But it might have pretty much the same. And a lot of times September, October, that's something nobody. Again, you can read some of the historic accounts. A lot of the Native Americans talk a lot of fall burning. There. Also, you look at some of the tree ring scars and stuff, the data that comes out of some of the tree ring labs, and they can tell when that fire occurred either in the fall or during the thermal season or in the growing season. See a lot of that late or fall type burns. And that even on the tree rings. Again, was there something there that Native Americans found out? I don't believe. Again, this is just looking at the other stuff from these plots, tall grass, other grasses, forbs, lagoons, and woodies. Again, these are the changes in the woodies, but these are the changes. Again, this is percent cover. Within that, yeah, we reduced a little bit of the cover. We didn't kill the plants. We reduced total cover. We increased forbs. We increased legumes with some July, August. Within that, so again, the main thing, not that do that and show that again. You know, what about other flowering plants? Yeah, this stuff we finished up. We're in the process of writing this up and analyzing all this stuff, but looking at flowering plants. So these are on that same season of burn flux. And again, when you think about it, the importance of flowering plants, pollinators. Kind of you know what's going on. It's certain stuff. There's a lot of pollinators. Also, again, butterflies. Big thing. What we're seeing. Doing that. A lot of their grassland birds, chicks, rely on insects that rely on those flowering plants. Yeah, we can increase that. We can increase possibly some of those species. Could have food parts of it that they can have within that. Doing that. What about livestock diets? I don't believe that cattle diet from grass. Dude, probably ought to do something. You know, the studies show more diversity in a pasture, greater diversity of diet. Also, if you look at the crude protein, most of those weeds and flowering forbs, they're twice to 3 times higher than most native grasses at the farm. So yeah, granted, it may not be a part of their diet, but if you can get something that's 30% crude protein compared to 10 in your diet, what does that do? Part of the big things that we can do. And so again, what we did was went out, started in those plots, walked through the plots, identify every flowering plant that was flowering at the time, had to be flowering. Identify the species and count them, we put them in a category of 1. There was just 1 of them flowering. Less than 10, greater than 1, less than 10 flowering individuals in that plot of that species. Did that all the way to frost in late October. Within that, and again, what we found is these are the total number of flowering species by burn treatment. So again, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and no burn. Actually, March, April had less species than not burning at all. Summer burns, great number of flowering species out there than that. If you look at the number of individuals that showed up, in those numbers, again, growing season burns big time, especially if you're looking at greater than 10s, lots of. And that also you can see dormant season burns compared to no burning. Similar in diversity out there. And then one thing that we found out, we had what we called, for lack of a term, these are specialist species. These are species that only occurred in one single burn tree. We did not see them anywhere else. You see, the July-August burn had 8 different species that were in there. That we only found those 8 species in the July-August burn. Again, March, April 2, May, June 3, no burn 3, January, February 1, July, August, September, October 6 and 8. So again, looking at multiple species, multiple individuals that required fire at a certain time of year. Again, what if we think about changing that burning outside of that? Now, here's one again. One's individual. This was a antelope or milkweed. It's a generalist. It occurred in every plot. Think about it. It's a very important plant to monarch butterflies. Within that, you see a lot of it. But again, most of the time, as you can see here, and it occurs early. And this year, this is the one where we burnt the May, June plots, and you can see it occurred, we burned it, and then all of a sudden, it occurred in greater number after we burned it, because it all popped back up. And that's what we've seen a lot of. Flower early, all of a sudden they pop back up. You'll see like Samson and all kinds of species that pop up. They don't look as but they all come back. But you think about the importance of that, of maintaining monarch populations and stuff with some of those certain species. Get out there. Within that 2.5 acres on that plot, we counted 117 different flowering. A diversity of burn that was going on. What about other species? Old World Blue Stem, and I've had the pleasure of talking with several folks in here. I know it's state grass of Kansas, right? Everybody loves it. It's like I wish I had the right answer. I come up with pretty much similar answers that you guys are coming up with. Dry season birds do seem to have an impact on it. A lot of it is very variable. We're seeing mixed results, just like I thought we here are seeing mixed results. Within that, one of the latest studies we did, looking at it, did show some stuff we burned in July. Pre-treatment was 100%. This is a solid sand, old world stem. Again, we burned in July. We did it 2 years in a row. Doing that, and we never cut it. But it come back quickly. But it's still, we had another second year. We still have lower amounts of it. Again, it was in a solid stand, small plots, seeds. Pretty quickly and all that. I'm not sure how much kill. Still, at least it's had a little bit of an impact. So we've got to learn more about. I don't have the right answer. I have some anecdotal answer, I got some anecdotal questions you ask. Again, I've got some stuff where I've been looking at, where I have noticed that where we're doing our patch burning work at, over the last several years, I've noticed in our northern season burns, we burn in March, in that time frame, in March, that, this is increasing a lot. We noticed a lot more in that area. We're doing our summer burns, which are typically burned around the first part of August, not near. We need to refine that. We put that in to see exactly what was. Cerecio Espadiza, the other state, like Kansas, Oklahoma as well. You know, again, there's been a lot of work doing that, still a lot of work going on. All the work, again, we've been doing is, again, we haven't been able to see anything there about comparing dormant and growing season, any kind of great differences between growing and dormant season fire. Another one more. And this is over a long period of time, 18 years of data that we've been able to get off of two different places that we worked at within that. And again, still just pretty much right there. Even one thing I will say is those that burn ceresia, it burns a whole lot better in the summer than it does in the spring. Spring, you're kind of burning sticks. In the summertime, it burns good. Sometimes it's like cedar trees going up, walls and stuff. So there's a lot there. So the biggest thing that we found is controlling it is through with our patch burning is through grazing. We've been able to maintain the cover pretty much for the last 18 years of what it initially started in our patch burned areas. But fire that are ceresia, maybe like fire, they able to handle fire. Doesn't handle grazing, following fire. But maintain a lot of that. I think again, growing season burns help us with that because we get a better burn on these ceresia. So it's helping that in grazing. So again, we think thinking back about why are we burning season here, and think about again. I've talked about you get more days, you get more hours, but also think about weather patterns. You know, we mentioned it earlier about weather patterns. Think about what weather pattern we're in, like winter, early spring. We're gonna have subpolar jets down. We're getting frontal passages every 2 to 5 days, 7 days. What happens when a front passes? What happens today for a front pass? Oh, well, looks like heck, out of the south. Next day, front comes through, looks like heck out of the. Also, what happens to the relative humidity? Associated with digits. Yeah. Rain blows hard, usually for a day, then it'll settle down. Rain will blow up and work for a day, and then stream back around for a day, and start blowing out the south. It may blow out the south for how long? Depends on when the next front comes in. Like a couple of years ago, we were getting fronts every 3 days. We blew out of the south. The next day, and then all of a sudden it switched right back to the south, blue markets. Guess what? Here comes the next front. So if you don't have much time between those frontal passages, right, whatever the patterns, hard to get things work. Maybe y'all noticed, I was talking about, maybe y'all noticed last year we've been burning, how windy the last 2 March and April. It's also documented. I don't know. I think our average wind speed in March was last March is 2.3 miles an hour greater than the average. So trying to get that stuff done. So what's the weather pattern like in July, August? The first one was so there. What's the weather forecast? First stamp is hot. Winter, hopefully light, no wind switches, no changes. They do put rain in Sunday forecast, right? And that moves one day every day, just to give you a wind cast. Think about that. You also think about, you know, a lot of times when we talk about growing season burning, it's oh, you can't burn in the summer, it's hot, you're out. Then that early, that's like, oh, that's great. So which is it hot and dry? Pretty green. Green. Awesome. Yeah. What is hot? I don't know about Manhattan specifically, but I know about Oklahoma, sure, it's close enough. December, January, and February is the driest 3 months of the year. And we're going right into it, burn. Too dry, low humidities, dry conditions. Whereas I know in the summer, I'm gonna have higher humidities. More temperature, you know. It's gonna be wet, but things are good. So what does that mean with fire and doing that? Also, you think about in the spring, like a lot of times some of the burn gases are enacted for no apparent reason other than people don't like fire. Again, it makes it difficult for people to burn when they're trying to burn. Understand that. You know, and then you think about wildfire, you know, is one season safer than another? We can see that. You know, this is looking at a few years back, we had a county commission to enact burn bans in our state. And at this one time, this was in March, we had 46 out of 77 counties under burn. Most of it was probably for not putting it in burn ban. You know, panic loves company, and once one does it, they all like it, right? But I also get track of this happen. The rest of the year. After May, or May 1st or December 30th. It's not on anybody's radar. Nobody's even thinking about it. So again, we got pretty much free reign most of the time. If you look at it, wildfires in Oklahoma, this is from 2000 to 2007. This is the number of wildfires by month. You can see definitely a lower amount from May to October. Why is that? Right? You get most of the rain, also vegetation. Green and actively growing. That's what rain is. You see November through March. What is season? Higher incidence wildfire. This is the number of fires. What if we look at the number of acres burned? Yeah, where are most of the acres burned? Okay, it's burned in March. Not because people are out burning or one reason is March is the windiest month of the year. Wind is the main driver, wildfire acres. All about it. Get that done. You know, if you want to really fine tune it down, so this is the number of fires by day during that same time frame. I took pretty much top 4 days. So July 4th is number 1. 20th is July 4th, number 2. Funny that we got an ignition switch, right? When was out running around with his lighter in Oklahoma blackness. So no, do that. Then you got November 27th, December 25th, and July or January 1st. Interesting, those are all associated with holidays. What does that mean? We got a bunch of idiots out burning junk on holiday weekends. Setting more fires. Different time frame. But here's the interesting thing. So remember where July 4th is. Remember, this is the number of fires per day. This is the number of acres burned per day. So again, look at the growing season acres compared to think about that. What about the safety aspect of it? So again, why do we want to burn in different seasons here? What about, most of y'all probably a lot of y'all seen fire in the season. Big flames, fast moving fire, big flame depth, as you can see in pictures. Again, that's just a little old, just set fire, there's up right, you already got 3-foot flame. Get pushed like. So again, rapid rates of spread. Good. What about burning in the growing season? Got fire, same kind of deal. Doing that, shorter flame lengths, slower rates of spread. A lot more safe, more consistent weather. No burn bans. You can also get benefits. Flame community. I thought we could do all kinds of stuff with that. Plus, we add more burn days to our burn season. We can get our stuff done. Because I know we're not as good as you guys. We haven't got all of our seniors under control like y'all have throughout the state. We need to burn. What are we going to do? Also, again, a lot of times, and you guys know about this more than anybody, smoke issue. What if we start to spread that smoke load out over the city? Yeah, why? But you've got more water. So yeah, the water vapor you put up, the more smoke you're going to see. But think about it, how many more better atmospheric days do we have in the group? So get up, get it out of it, dispersion, consistent weather patterns, things that we can see on doing that. And so again, we're seeing more and more burns. This is just a list of months of season burns. This is EVAs from Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, show that they're burning in all months of the year. Again, still spring burns, but for that. And actually, what we're seeing is up to about 20% of burns reported to you now are growing season burns. What we see and what we have on doing that. And so the benefits of it, again, is talking about how we can change that, how we can burn in a different condition. But the biggest question gets to be, how can I actually know, does the growing season burn kill cedars? Because again, that's the number one reason for burning on these plants. So we gotta have a benefit. We're going to do that, right? So will that kill? Are they just as effective as dormant seed burns? So we did a study. West of Stillwater took 10 plots, 30 meters by 30 meters. We had area there. You see, we got nice row up cedar trees. That was planted from the study several years previous to that. So don't blame us for planting them. It was for research. It killed them. So that was the main thing. This is what that area looked like in the dormant season. That's the fuels we had, the trees we had scattered out in there. That's the growing season. We went in on February 22nd and burned those plots. We had southwest wind. We lived south this quarter. Started at the southwest corner, one porch moved to the south side, one porch moved to the west side, let it go to the northeast. Growing season, same thing. We had a southwest wind, we took the south side, the west side, and let it burn to the northeast. Got everything burned up ahead of it, so it don't go anywhere on what we can do. The day we burned, the dormant season was 65 degrees. Winds were 3 to 5, relative humidity was 35%, and cedar leaf moisture was 88% leaf moisture. Like samples from 3 trees out of each plot we burned right before we burned it. Growing season, 98 degrees that day, 3 to 5 winds, relative humidity was 45%, cedar leaf moisture was 102%. So in the growing season, it was wetter leaf moisture. It was also higher humidity. Now we got wetter conditions in the growing season, the burn. So what happened? What we saw was, again, we estimated flame heights. Flame heights were a little over 4 feet for the dormant season, 1.5 foot for the growing season fires that averaged across there. Flame depth, so the area from the leading edge of the active burning to the back of the flames that died out was 3 foot compared to 6 inches. Growing season situation. Burn time to get from the southwest corner to the northeast corner was 118 seconds. Again, big flames, fast moving fire, big fire front, we see the dormant season. Growing season, little bitty flames, 524 second average getting from northeast or southwest and northeast. So what is it, 9 minutes? 6 weeks. Across. So again, that's what we've got. That box of fire versus that box of fire, moving like a turtle. So what did it do? Post burn, we averaged 38 trees in the growing season plots, 37 trees, essentially same amount of trees. We scorched 90% of the trees with the growing season fire. We scorched 79% with the dormant season fire. The scorch height was even the same, even the different flame heights. Our average scorch height was 9 feet. Average tree height was just over 9 feet. And this is the final deal on it. What we've come up with was we killed 76% of all those trees growing season fire compared to only 39% on this. So big box of fire that moves fast. And now, see that the scores, again, the biggest majority of them were taken out within that. This is the tree heights by scorch, and this, look at this, this is the range. Growing season, we killed everything from 1.3 feet, we killed 3. Tallest tree we killed in the dormant season was 17 feet. We were able to kill more trees and bigger trees with growing season fire. So again, just as effective as dormant season, not even more effective. Now, doing that. So again, burning at different seasons of the year can still kill cedar trees. That's the biggest thing of it. So again, at the end of it, what's it burns? Positive impacts. Fire has positive impacts. Most everything about it. Again, it's all about goals and objectives. What is your goals and objectives on your land? That's what it turns into. But giving you an opportunity to think about being able to use fire at different seasons of the year. Think about doing that. Again, growing season fire needs old growth from the previous year to start to carry. You know, vary things up and doing that. Also heard a lot as seasons as with that, I appreciate it. Appreciate your time and being here. Thank you very much.
Could you talk just a little bit about the patch burn? You mentioned burning in season, burn season and growing season as part of that same patch burn. Can you talk a little bit about how you get their expectations?
Rotations on our patch burn.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do patch burning, patch burn grazing, ours is set up on research based stuff, so. We got patch burn, we divided them into 6.
Okay.
So we're actually divided them into thirds. So we burn a third of that patch every year. Of that third, a sixth of it, we burn in the dormant season, the other 6 we burn in the dormant season. So every 3 years, that patch gets returned. Whole pasture gets burned, bigger period. Always fire on the ground.
Everyone's really learning options for rotating within a different, within the same patch, same.
Yes.
Yeah. Just burn some of them in the summer,
They're all equal size and all. Whatever you want. Pasture stock with stock grade higher pasture.
After you growing season burn, radius, or you see it afterwards, is there target bio?
Cash burning. If they concentrate to do on the cash burning, they take 70% of their time in one person. What that does all the other. Burn here, in great farm. One thing with that, cover stock and record from. Yeah,
on wildlife burns have gone up like the recent years.
a lot of things, the benefit from home seating versus, like out there.
So fall, spring,
That would be growing season, so think about any member, so again, we're all, says, us. I get the question, did you see the phosphorus one? That's well. Growing season birds, where they put their anchor. Got their anchor, and that's, that thing, and first of August. All kinds. Again, a lot of times it is, it's about scale of efficiency. What's around you? That's what you do. Greater that heat, and just like the cedars that grow, we're seeing the more impact on one of the trees. Still not secure all we know. Pine stands and stuff, and actually they're part of the production. place for that. And with the control, not all, but again, and we'll be able to penetrate some of those, say, sometimes no, because again, during that growing season, one of those dogs. You just have a case there. Spring, but it's gonna be a slow process, you're gonna have to start working through the edges.
So would you say that the creation burn matters really to suit?
So kind of the question is why we have a higher mortality rate?
Yes.
What- Answer is about in here. So think about it. Thermal death temperature of plant tissue is about 150 degrees. We burn in the spring, 50 degrees outside, we gotta raise the temperature to 100 degrees. We can do that with an intense fire, but how fast is that thing moving? But plus, it's only 50 degrees. Plus, what is the core temperature of those trees that we're trying to produce 30? Whereas it's 100 degrees right now. All I have to do is raise the temperature to 50. Plus last night's low was like 80. That's already cool. Rain there, like this. Plus in that growing. That's why that little bit of fire was slow.
Okay.
All right.
Same on the